Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Here is Olga. Thank you for following me. Thank you for watching my weekly horoscopes, which are not horoscopes or astrological forecasts for a specific zodiacal sign. What I do is that I present the analysis of transit planetary aspects that we call actual aspects, that it's like a general background weather forecast, and the energy of the transits, they have an impact on all of us in different measure and in different way even sometimes. And the last thing, the personal impact of the transits depends on the individual horoscope and the personal birth chart. And if somebody looks for personalized predictions, astrological predictions, the astrologer has to consider, first of all, personal horoscopes, personal birth chart, personal astrological astro theme, right? Which is unique for each of us. And the astrologer has to consider it has to use the major known astrological predictive techniques and to add to this transit. So that's why for the moment at least, I don't prepare astrological predictions for each solar sign. For the moment, I stay on the analysis of the transits, but this is the subject of maybe of another video, which will come up soon, I promise you. So, as you can remember, I hope as you remember, the last week I gave you good news, because in general, the month of May 2017 is extremely positive, because it's full of harmonious planetary transit aspects. And this week, the week of the third week of May, from Monday, May 15th to Sunday, May 21st, is also positive, whereas we see the first aspect of the upcoming T-square. And the configuration will cover the T-square, will cover the half of the upcoming week and the half, almost the entire next week. But let's start from the beginning. So in general, the week is good, because the full moon is behind. I don't know how about you, but for me it was extremely intense. And well, I went to karaoke parties, so to relax, not to stay at home and not to get a little bit mad with all this energy that was popping up in my head. The blood pressure went up, because the full moon is in Scorpio. So you know, when the moon is in Scorpio, we're all emotionally extremely vulnerable, and we can manifest some tendencies to, I don't want to exaggerate, you know, but to self-destructive tendencies, like wishing to consume alcohol. And this is the day when the alcohol actually should be avoided, when the moon is in any water sign, and especially in Scorpio. So let's start from the beginning. What is the particularity of the next week? First of all, on Tuesday, May 16th, we expect the ingression of Mercury into the sign of Taurus. So it passes from the fire sign Aries into the earth sign of Taurus. So during this transit, around 1 month, right? A little bit less, the quick temper and impulsiveness in communication, because Mercury symbolizes communication, intellectual activity, and small trips, will be replaced by equanimity and discretion. the need for specific and precise, concrete, realistic, real information will be awakened, because Taurus is something material that we can see and touch, right? So this is the type of information that we will look for. So during this transit, it will be difficult to push forward new and innovate ideas, because people are inclined to think carefully during the transit of Mercury by Taurus, and to weight everything before to make the conclusion and before to make a decision. So this transit is a good period for calculations, for drawing up reports, and for doing other small and maybe even tedious mental work, because actually we will have enough of patience for doing that. So during the transit of Mercury through Taurus, people do not tend to provoke conflicts, but at the same time, we should not try to over-persuade anybody during this transit. So to persuade somebody in the contrary of what he thinks, right? Because to some extent, everyone becomes stubborn and intractable, while preferring to keep his thoughts and conclusions for himself. Taurus. Difficult to provoke him, Taurus. Also, since Mercury symbolizes small trips, the trips will be made if there is a practical interest in a trip. The non-harmonious manifestations of the transit of Mercury by Taurus are: people became, as I said, headstrong, distrustful, often resentful. It may be difficult for some of us to express our thoughts, and everything new meets a rejection in us. During this time, people become contrarious and suspicious, but at the same time, some of us could be tempted by something material, for example, a bribe, and give out, reveal classified secret information, a secret that was that should be kept, but there is a temptation, yes, on this subject. The same day, Tuesday, let's talk about actual moon aspects, because we know that the moon influences our emotional state. Fortunately, the moon transits pass fast because the moon is very fast. So tense, difficult aspect can last for a couple of hours, and that's it behind. And this is actually what we feel sometimes, that in the morning we are nervous, in the afternoon we are joyful. So what about the moon, the transit of the moon? Tuesday, May 16th. The moon is already waning. Okay, the full moon in Scorpio is behind us. The moon will be in Aquarius on Tuesday, and it will form square to Uranus and square to Mercury. Difficult aspects, the both. So this day we can feel the irritability, nervousness, and also increased excitability. So we have to manage our emotions and not to provoke others, and not to succumb to provocations, just to stay maybe, to manage our emotional reactions. Otherwise, there will be like sparkles in the air, and it's not constructive. So it just destroys the relationships. Wednesday, May 17th. The waning moon is still in Aquarius, and in this day it creates very harmonious aspects: sextile to Venus, 60 degrees, and trine to Jupiter, gorgeous aspects. This day we can enjoy love, interesting communication, and trips. So you see that Wednesday is the compensation of the previous day of Tuesday. Thursday, May 18th, the waning moon is still in Aquarius, and it forms many aspects, more than two: sextile to Uranus and to Saturn, trine to Mars and Jupiter. These are harmonious aspects, but square to the Sun. So once again, the mixture of a little bit contradictory aspects. So this day we will feel for sure energy, a lot of energy and optimism. We will feel the need, and why not, to, fool around without thinking too much about the opinion of others and about the consequences of this small childish behavior, but on a very small scale. I don't talk about big stupidity. Just allow ourselves to be spontaneous and express ourselves without thinking about what other people think about that. Now, last time I mentioned already the major background aspect, which is the trine of Saturn in Sagittarius to Uranus in Aries, which has an impact on us during the entire month of May. But of course, we will feel the most powerful impact of the aspect, of any aspect, close to the exact accurate date, which is the May 19th, Friday. The trine Saturn-Uranus defines a good period for the implementation of innovative technologies, of the integration into one's business of the latest informative and communicative developments. Complicated sentence. Informal leaders and original ideas can find support of the officials. So, yes, I talked about this already last time, but I have to mention this once again, since we talk about the day of the exact day of its aspect, when it's 120 degrees, okay? The angle between the two planets. Well, now, in the middle of the week, on Friday 19th, we will see the first of the two aspects of the upcoming T-square, which is the opposition Venus-Jupiter. Remember the T-square, the planetary, the configuration of planetary aspects, which consist of three aspects: the position between two planets and the two squares between these two planets on the ends of the position, and the third one on the top, the triangle. So on Friday, May 19th, we will see the position Venus-Jupiter, and on 25th, we will expect the square Venus-Pluto. Since we talk about slow planets, Pluto and Jupiter, Venus is not very fast neither. The impact of the both aspects of the entire configuration, the T-square, will be expanded to the period of May 18th to the 27th. So, of course, it's a difficult moment. We remember, like 2 months ago, the famous T-square we spoke about so many times, but formed by other planets, of course. So it's in a position in the square. These are difficult, hard, tense, not non-harmonious aspects. So what impact will have on us the upcoming T-square? In romantic, family, and relationships, and in business partnerships, sharp problems can arise, such as disagreements on financial issues, because Venus symbolizes, remember, partnership and also money, material values, goods. Or it could be conflicts provoked by selfishness and non-acceptance of the position of the partner. And the tension will increase as we approach to May 25th, to the square Venus-Pluto. During these two aspects, the perception of partnership relationships will be distorted. We can see, in other words, our partner through the, pink rose-colored glasses, non-realistic view, right? And we may manifest unjustified high expectations from the partner or from our partners, love and business. So since we talk about conflictual, tense aspects of the three mentioned planets, there is always a high risk of breakups, right? The conflict that leads to breakups. So we have absolutely to look for opportunities to soften the conflict if we are already in a, for example, in the context of a conflict, if conflict exists already, but anyway, these upcoming aspects may create conflicts, may provoke conflicts, even though they don't exist yet in our lives, in our partnership relationship. So if you don't want an undesirable breakup of a relationship, we have to find solutions how to calm things down. So what about this position Venus Jupiter, which will be exact on Friday, May 19th? Venus in Aries in a position to Jupiter in Libra. Venus symbolizes money and love, Jupiter expansion, maximum realization, abundance. Imagine these two principles are in confrontation, because any position, it's a fight, it's a conflict, it's a of two extreme, it's extreme attitude of two opposite principles symbolized by the planets in questions. So the aspect of opposition Venus-Jupiter inclines toward impulsive spendings, if you talk about money, to unreasonable squandering. Therefore, we risk to be victims of forced spendings, of purchases at an inflated price, and our exaggerated expectations in the field of financial sphere may lead to financial miscalculations. Well, during a couple of days before and even after the exact aspect, we can feel inspired when we would like to, and we will be able actually to please our loved ones with gifts, generous gestures, spending on leisure and travels. Of course we can do it. We have all free will, right? But we must ensure that we are aware of what we are overpaying for, so that after this what happened if we overpay, or if we overpay, we have nobody, we don't blame anybody but us. So we have to be aware what we pay for and what we overpay for, if it's the case, which is very probable. Also, the aspect of opposition Venus-Jupiter provokes the lack of discipline in nutrition, tendency to excesses, to the surfeit in food and alcohol, which could lead us to gaining weight. So we have to watch our shape if you want to be slim, in excellent shape for the summer, which is not far. So on a larger scale, if you talk about business, about big structures, not only about our own wallet, our family finances. In business, there will be difficulties in dealing with foreign and long-distance partners, because Jupiter symbolizes, of course, foreign countries, immigration, world round trips, travels abroad, right? Foreign countries, yes. So in finance, in financial sphere, in finance of a company, of a business structure, there can be an overrun of the budget. So that's why during the days close to the exact aspect, it's better to avoid major investments. Complications can arise in relationship with the management, or with influential people, or with our superiors. Of course, I will comment on the second aspect, square Venus Pluto the next time. And these, at least this week, we have to stay aware of the what is waiting for us, not only during the second half of this week, but during the next days, during the impact of the second aspect square Venus-Pluto. What else? Saturday. Yes, this week we have another ingression on Saturday, May 20th, the ingression of the Sun into Gemini. So I wish happy birthday to all people, all those who are born under the zodiacal sign of Gemini, which will last. This transit will last, of course, for 1 month, because we know that the Sun passes each zodiacal sign. It passes all the 12 signs during 1 solar year, so it stays in one sign for 1 month approximately. How does this transit influence all of us, not only those who are born under this sign? During the transit of the Sun through Gemini, we will definitely see an intellectual surge in everything we do. People become smarter, striving for knowledge or simply for any new information. They become very curious about everything. Often some of us can reveal our hidden intellectual abilities. Therefore, this period is favorable for studying, for self-education, for passing examinations, exams, if we plan, for example, to defend a thesis or a dissertation, if we study a lot, not only the master, but we go very far in university studies. And during this transit, so Sun and Gemini, it's good to start a new work in an intellectual character, intellectual nature, or to return to an old one left early and to finish it. It's also a period of travels, trips, business trips, as well as for the activities related to mediation, matchmaking, commerce, in the field of writing, journalistic work, in other words, for all Mercurian professions, because we know that Mercury is the ruler of the sign of Gemini, and the profession of Mercurian professions are, yes, I will repeat myself, any intellectual work, communication, mass media, writing, journalism, blogging, commerce, mediation. Yes, so good luck with that to all of us. What about the end of the week, the weekend? The entire weekend, Saturday and Sunday, May 19th, 20th, and 20th. The moon is waning, of course. It will be in Pisces, and Friday and Saturday it will form the following aspects: conjunction with Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces, square 90 degrees with Mars, sextile 60 degrees with Pluto. So, how these aspects will influence our emotional state? Distraction, sensitivity to external influences. What type of influence? For example, if somebody wants to put emotional pressure on us, to manipulate us if we have a vulnerable emotional state. Deceptiveness, when it will be easy for those who are stronger emotionally than us to deceive us, to lie to us, to make us believe in something which is not true. Mental, psychological, emotional manipulation. So these 2 days, the psychic balance and psychological balance and health is risks to be under attack and danger. That's why these days we have to pay particular attention and to our emotional state and to be maximally to the maximum, focus to the maximum and concentrated while we drive, especially when we do something that it requires the maximum concentration and focus. Also, we have to check all incoming information, to filter it, to clean it from the emotional layer, not to perceive information emotionally, but with a cold mind. Otherwise, we risk to be manipulated and deceived. Also, another thing which is very important, we have to monitor the members of our family or our acquaintances, our friends, who, if we know, who have mental problems, for example, and any type of addictions, okay? Not to leave them alone in their distress, in their difficult, not easy emotional state, because it risks to happen to them, especially to those people who have who are extremely vulnerable, who have their moon in Pisces in the chart, for example. And the last thing that I wanted to talk to you about, we said that on Friday, May 19th, we have two exact aspects: opposition Venus-Jupiter and trine Saturn-Uranus. Okay. This day, the May 19th, and these two exact aspects correspond to coincide with the exact with the beginning of the last quarter of the lunar months. So the 19th, the May 19th, we start the last week of the lunar month, because in one week we will leave the new moon, right? So we know that the waning moon, the second half of the lunar months after the full moon, especially the third week, the fourth week, right? The last quarter, the fourth week of the lunar months. This is the time of analysis of what we've done before, of making conclusions, of summarizing of what happened so far. So it's not the time of the new beginnings. It's just the end of the lunar month, which is logical. So since the beginning of the last quarter of the lunar month coincide with the two accurate aspects, very important aspects of the week and even of the month, this day, the Friday, and also plus minus, 1 day, not only the exact day, this will be the time of assessing of what was done, what has been done, and what has been undertaken by us, of course, during the 3 previous weeks since the beginning of the previous lunar month. So for new moon, 3 weeks passed, and now this is the time of assessing of what has been done during these 3 weeks, and this day will be necessary to see how effective our actions were or have been in the recent past, how realistic are or have been our ideas, and whether our financial and energy cost are justified, can be paid off in the end of the lunar month, which will be the moment of the making conclusions, okay, about the entire month. This is the time for critical appraisal of our deeds and affairs, the time of completion of projects that did not justify or that are not justifying right now themselves. And there are two possibilities, two ways of, two scenarios of the evolution of the events. If our actions in the recent past were right, then if we opted for the right constructive strategy of behavior, The days near May 19th will be a period of getting reward for our efforts. And if, on the contrary, we were avoiding our obligations and responsibilities, when we were not acting correctly and in the right way, this will be the moment, the beginning of the last quarter of the lunar months, which coincide, I repeat once again, with the two exact major aspects of the months. Then this will be the time of the acceptance of the consequences of our wrong actions, the time to pay the financial and moral bills. I don't want to exaggerate, just the question of formulation. So I think that I have rather good news for you this time. I wish you an excellent week. Use this information in a constructive way, and stay tuned, stay wise, and talk to you very soon the next week. All the best. Goodbye.